The champagne was already open when my suitcase crossed the threshold. My living room looked like a luxury travel ad had exploded across it. Designer luggage by the sofa. A glossy Maldives board on my coffee table. My sister, twirling in a white resort dress, phone raised, smiling for her followers. Then my eyes dropped to the hallway. Black trash bags. My clothes, my books, my life. Right on top of one bag sat my grandmother's framed photo, half hidden under Lacey's beach tote. My father lifted his glass and smirked. "Well," he said, "your empty little house finally became useful." My mother's old emergency key sat beside the champagne bucket. My throat tightened. My hand stayed steady on the suitcase handle. I looked at each of them, one by one. "Who told you this house was yours to sell?" Grant laughed first, not because anything was funny, because men like him laugh when they're trying to teach you where the floor is. He stood beside my sister with one hand in his pocket, looking relaxed in my house, on my rug, under the roof I paid for, with years of swallowed pride. "Nora," he said, stretching my name like I was a child interrupting adults. "Don't be dramatic. The family already made a decision." That was the first time anyone in that room said the word family. Funny how they only loved that word when it meant taking something from me. My name is Nora Ward. I'm 33 years old, and I've spent most of my life being the daughter people called when something broke. A car payment, a medical bill, a spoiled party, a late rent check, a last-minute emergency that somehow always became my responsibility. Lacey, my younger sister, was the family prize. She got pageants, birthday suites, new cars, private photographers, and the kind of attention that made grown adults clap when she remembered to say thank you. I got told to be patient, mature, understanding. When I bought this house, my father called it a lonely woman's project. My mother said it was too much space for someone like me. Lacey walked through the front door once, wrinkled her nose, and said, "It has sad, divorced aunt energy." I laughed that day because laughing was easier than letting them see the bruise. Then I painted the walls myself, replaced the cracked tile myself, sanded the banister until my hands burned, and put my grandmother's photo on the mantle before I even unpacked my dishes. She was the only person who ever told me a woman needs one door nobody can open without asking. And now my mother had opened that door with the emergency key I gave her after surgery years ago, back when trust still felt like something safe to hand over. Belinda, my mother, followed my stare to the key and lifted her chin. "Don't start," she said. "A mother should always have access to her daughter's home." "My home," I said. My father set his glass down hard enough to make the champagne jump. "Don't take that tone with your mother." Lacey rolled her eyes and lowered her phone just enough to stop filming her own face. "Can we please not make this ugly? My trip content starts tomorrow." Her trip content, that was what they called it. A 6-week Maldives vow renewal campaign, complete with first-class seats, resort outfits, a videographer, and a beach ceremony she had already teased online for weeks. The glossy board on my coffee table had her name printed in gold letters, like my house had died and come back as a sponsor. Grant slid a folder toward me. "The buyer is ready," he said. "The deposit is sitting in escrow. The only thing missing is your final confirmation." I stared at the folder. My father took a step closer. "This is good for the family. Lacey has real opportunities now. Brand partners, exposure, a future. You barely use this place." I looked at the trash bags. "I live here." Belinda sighed like I had embarrassed her. "You travel, you work, you keep this house like some shrine. Lacey is building a life with her husband. She has people counting on her." Lacey gave a small, wet little laugh, though her eyes were dry. "I mean, at least the house will finally fund something beautiful." My grandmother's photo shifted under her beach tote when she crossed her legs. "Give me the picture," I said. Lacey looked down like she had forgotten it was there. "Oh, this?" "It was in a trash bag. I thought you didn't care." The words went through me clean. When I was a kid, my grandmother used to slip folded bills into my coat pocket and whisper, "Save it for your quiet life." My family laughed at her for being old-fashioned. She knew things they never learned. She knew quiet could be a weapon. She knew a locked door could be mercy. That photo was never decor. It was proof I survived them. Grant tapped the folder with 2 fingers. "Let's stay focused, sign, and all of this ends peacefully." My phone buzzed in my coat pocket. A text from Caleb Ross, my attorney. "Do not sign. Do not threaten. Let them talk." I slid the phone back into my pocket and looked at Grant. "Why did the title company call me this morning?" The room changed. Just a tiny shift. Barely a breath. Grant's smile stayed on his face, though the edges tightened. "Standard verification." "Funny," I said. They sounded concerned. My father snapped. Stop trying to embarrass us. Belinda's voice turned soft and sharp at the same time. Don't make your sister cry before her trip. Lacey sniffed on cue and raised her phone again, angling it toward her face. I can't believe this is happening, she whispered. Probably for her followers, probably for herself. Grant leaned over the folder. Nora, the family agreed. The buyer committed. The deposit is in escrow. You turning this into a scene now just makes everyone look bad. Everyone, I repeated. He lowered his voice, signed before people start asking questions. I pulled up the voicemail he had left me the night before my flight home. His own voice filled my living room, thin and rushed, stripped of the smooth confidence he used in public. Nora, don't make this difficult. Your family already agreed. The buyer is getting nervous, and if you force this into the open, nobody is going to believe you're protecting anything. They'll believe you're jealous. Don't make me handle you publicly. The recording ended. No one moved. Lacey's mouth parted. Grant straightened his jacket and forced a laugh. You're taking private messages out of context. I turned toward my sister. Give me the photo. She clutched it now, as if the frame had suddenly become valuable because I wanted it back. It was in a trash bag, she repeated. Maybe if it mattered so much, you should have kept your things organized. My hand closed around the edge of the frame. Her fingers fought me for half a second. Then she let go. Belinda stepped between us. This is getting ridiculous. It's a photograph. No, I said, holding it against my chest. It's the first thing I put on the mantle when I bought this house. My father scoffed. This house exists because of family support. I looked at him. You didn't shape me. You spent me. His face hardened. Belinda's changed faster. The angry mother disappeared, and the wounded one walked in. Nora, she said quietly, let's not embarrass ourselves. We can talk privately. Martin nodded, suddenly calm. That's right. We handle family business inside the family. Lacey wiped under her eyes, though her makeup had not moved. I just wanted one peaceful morning before my trip. For a few seconds, the room almost looked normal. My mother lowering her voice, my father pretending to be reasonable, my sister shrinking into the role that had always protected her. I tucked my grandmother's photo under my arm. You have one chance to leave quietly. Belinda looked toward the front window. Her expression gave her away before the doorbell did. Aunt Marla came in first, carrying a bakery box and smiling too brightly. Behind her came cousins, uncles, 2 of Lacey's friends, and 3 relatives I only saw when somebody wanted a photo of a close family. Lacey's farewell brunch? Of course. The food was not the point. The audience was. Lacey lifted her phone, thumb moving fast. We're live, she whispered to Grant. My father's shoulders squared. That old courtroom of family face settled over him. He loved a crowd. Crowds made him bigger. He turned to them with a heavy sigh. I'm sorry you all walked into this, he said. Nora came home angry. She's upset because we made a family decision, and she thinks punishing Lacey will give her some kind of control. Aunt Marla looked from him to me. Nora, honey, what is going on? Belinda pressed a tissue to her nose. She's always been private, cold sometimes. We tried to include her, and now she wants to destroy her sister's happiness. Lacey angled the phone toward her wet face. I just wanted my family there for me, she said. That's all. Grant stood behind her like a calm professional, the folder in his hand. Nora has always had control issues, he said. This sale was agreed on as a family solution. There it was. The old weapon. Not truth. An audience. They had used it on me at birthdays, holidays, weddings, funerals. Make Nora look difficult. Make Nora look jealous. Make Nora explain herself until everyone got tired and accepted the easier story. My pulse slowed. They were building the stage themselves, so I let them finish. My father kept going, voice rising now that people were watching. You forgot who raised you. You forgot who carried you. Your sister has a real future, and instead of helping her, you cling to this house like it's a monument to your loneliness. A few relatives looked down. Grant pushed the folder toward me again. Sign it. I looked around the room. My mother's tissue had stopped moving. Lacey kept glancing at the comments on her phone. Grant watched my hands, waiting for the tremble. My father stood in the center of my living room, red-faced and righteous, already convinced he had won. I asked him one simple thing. Are you done? He blinked. Grant said, sign the paper. No, I said. You're all going to listen. I placed my phone on the table and opened the file. Caleb had told me to keep ready. Not some hacked secret, not some magic trick, just the things they had handed me because they thought I would stay scared. First, the doorbell camera clip played from my own front entry. Martin and Grant carried my belongings toward the hallway in black trash bags. My father's voice was clear. She'll fold once the whole family leans on her. She always does. Grant answered, Just keep moving before she gets back. Aunt Marla's hand flew to her mouth. Belinda whispered, "That's private." "No," I said. "That's my front door." Then I opened the group message Belinda had sent while coordinating the brunch. "Keep the old photo. Lacey likes the vintage look." The tissue slipped from my mother's fingers. Nobody comforted her. Lacey's eyes darted to the phone in her hand. Her live stream was still running. Her thumb jabbed the screen twice. Too late. The comments had already started moving too fast for her to read. Grant stepped forward. "This is manipulation. She's twisting private family matters." I opened his email. "Sign before the title company raises more questions. If you make this public, everyone will know you ruined Lacey's trip because you couldn't stand seeing her happy." His face lost color in sections, like the blood was draining one thought at a time. "The sale was never complete," I said. "The title company contacted me because my verified consent was missing. The escrow deposit is frozen. Nobody is getting the house. Nobody is funding Maldives from my life." Lacey turned toward Grant. "Frozen?" He swallowed. "It's temporary. You said the money was ready." "It is ready." "No," I said. "It's locked." My father slammed his hand on the table. "You are attacking this family. You attacked me when you changed the locks." Grant grabbed Lacey's arm. "We're leaving." She yanked away from him so hard her bracelet snapped against her wrist. "Was the trip ever mine?" she asked, voice cracking. "Or was I just the face you needed for the sale?" Grant opened his mouth. Nothing came out. That silence did more damage than any confession. Caleb stepped in then, calm and steady, folder tucked under one arm. He had been near the doorway long enough to hear everything that mattered. "No one is being dragged out in handcuffs today," he said. "That is not how this works. But the transaction is frozen. The title company has the file. Nora owns this house. Since you entered with an old emergency key, changed access, and removed her property without permission, you can leave now. Or she can request local law enforcement for civil standby and trespass removal." My father turned on him. "Who the hell are you?" "The attorney who told her not to sign." Aunt Marla picked up her purse. "I'm not standing here pretending I didn't hear that." One by one, people moved toward the door. No dramatic speeches, no group apology, just the sound of people choosing not to stand beside my father anymore. That was enough. Belinda tried one last time. "After everything I did for you," I looked at the trash bags. "You put my life in plastic." Her face crumpled. Not from guilt. From losing the room, Martin left furious, shoulders stiff, mouth still moving, though no one answered him. His power had always depended on people looking at him first. That morning, they looked away. Belinda left without my grandmother's photo. Lacey deleted the live stream before she reached the driveway, but clips were already moving through her followers and our family chat. By evening, her Maldives posts were not full of hearts anymore. They were full of questions. Grant's deal stayed frozen. His email became evidence. The title company's review turned into a formal fraud complaint, and the polished confidence he wore like armor started cracking in public. Caleb waited until the last car pulled away. "You handled the hard part," he said. "I'll handle the paperwork from here." Then he left me in my own house. Quiet. Finally quiet. I put my grandmother's photo back on the mantle. The glass had a scratch across one corner, probably from the trash bag. I left it there. A clean frame would have made the memory prettier, and I wanted the truth. I threw away the bags. One torn label had my name written on it in my mother's handwriting. I kept it in a drawer for a while, not because I wanted to stay angry, but because some proof is for yourself. The new key sat in my palm later that day, small and cold and heavier than it should have been. For the first time in my life, no one in my family had a key to me anymore. The legal part did not explode overnight. Real life rarely gives you the neat little ending people imagine. No one got dragged off my porch while neighbors clapped. No judge slammed a gavel the next morning. Consequences arrived the way they usually do. Slowly, then all at once, the escrow deposit was $140,000. It stayed frozen while the title company reviewed the attempted sale. The buyer backed out within days after receiving notice that my verified consent was never given. They got their money back, minus the cost their own attorney had to fight over. Grant did not get a penny. 3 months later, Grant pled guilty to attempted wire fraud and forgery-related charges connected to the transaction. The judge sentenced him to 30 months in federal prison with supervised release after that. He was ordered to pay $28,400 in restitution for legal costs, title review fees, and damages tied to the false filing attempt. Martin avoided prison, though not consequences. He accepted a plea agreement for unlawful entry and assisting in the attempted property transfer. He received probation, community service, and a no-contact order that covered me and my home. That last part mattered more than the rest. A court had finally written down what my family refused to respect. Stay away. Belinda was named in the civil claim because she used the emergency key and helped remove my belongings. She paid part of the property damage settlement and lost access to every family account she used to control through guilt. She sent one letter through Aunt Marla, written in that careful mother voice she used when she wanted to sound wounded instead of responsible. I am still your mother. I read that line twice. Then I put the letter in the trash with the grocery receipts. No speech. No tears. No reply. Lacey did not go to prison. She was not the mastermind, and I was not interested in pretending she was. Her punishment came from the life she actually cared about. 2 resort brands dropped her within a week. The vow renewal campaign disappeared from her page. For months, every new post had comments asking why she tried to take her sister's house. She eventually filed for separation from Grant. Aunt Marla told me that part, not because I asked, but because some families pass gossip around like a casserole and call it concern. The neighborhood reacted quietly at first, then honestly. The older woman across the street, Mrs. Alvarez, left a basket of muffins on my porch with a note that said, "Change locks are good, change standards are better." I taped that note inside my pantry cabinet. It made me laugh on a morning when laughing still felt unfamiliar. My chosen family showed up differently. My friend Tessa came over with takeout and sat on the kitchen floor while I sorted through what could be saved. Caleb checked in without making me feel helpless. Mrs. Alvarez started waving every morning like she was guarding the block herself. None of them asked for pieces of me as payment for their kindness. That was new. Peace felt strange at first, almost suspicious. For years, love in my family came with a timer, a favor, a test, a trapdoor. Someone always needed something. Someone always reminded me what I owed. Even silence felt like a bill waiting in the mail. After they were gone, the silence changed. The house settled around me like a coat that finally fit. The first night I slept there after everything, my grandmother's photo sat on the mantel with that scratch across the glass. The woman in the picture still had the same calm eyes, same pressed blouse, same small smile that always looked like she knew more than she said. I made tea, sat on the couch, looked at the door. Nobody opened it. That was the victory. Not the frozen escrow, not the court order, not Grant's sentence, not Lacey's ruined content calendar. The victory was a locked door in a quiet room. The victory was the absence of dread. Here is what I learned. Blood does not cancel boundaries. A parent does not own your home because they raised you. A sibling does not own your sacrifice because they are younger. A family name is not a deed. Love without respect is just access with better manners. When someone calls your boundary betrayal, look closely at what they were getting from you when you had none. Public shame is often the last weapon of a losing manipulator. When Martin could not win with facts, he reached for an audience. Belinda cried because crying had worked before. Lacey filmed because attention had always protected her. Grant pushed papers because pressure was the only thing keeping his lie alive. People who cannot control the truth will try to control the room. Let them talk long enough, and sometimes they hand you the ending. Peace begins when you stop auditioning for love. I spent years trying to be useful enough, calm enough, forgiving enough. I kept thinking there was some perfect version of me that would finally make them treat me fairly. There wasn't. People who benefit from your guilt keep moving the finish line. The day you stop running toward it, they call you cold. Maybe cold is not the insult they think it is. Maybe cold is what happens when the fire stops burning you. I still live in that house. Same walls, same mantle, same scratched photo. The old emergency key is gone. The locks are different. So am I. If someone in your life has ever called you selfish for protecting yourself, pay attention. They may not be reacting to your cruelty. They may be reacting to the end of their access. And if you were standing where I stood, with your family lying in your own living room and your whole life sitting in trash bags, what would you have done? Would you have exposed them in front of everyone, or let the law handle it quietly? Tell me in the comments. Some betrayals only start making sense when other people finally admit they survived the same kind of love.